Shontra Powell. I am CEO founder of S. Powell Co. Management Advisory Firm. This role is rather new and exciting for me. I started this role just 2 months ago, leaving a corporate career for the last 30 plus years. How did I get here? Essentially, this pivot has been in the midst of the COVID situation, and I found myself in an organization that was nearing a bankruptcy and had to make the tough call. Did I see myself aligned with the values in the corporation enough to stick to it and be a part of that experience? Or did I see myself rather valued more externally, leveraging 30 plus years of experience in Fortune 500 cross-functional roles to go out on my own? So I decided to go out on my own. Where did it start? Well, my career started in finance risk management. I then had the opportunity to work globally, living in London, learning the European insurance marketplace, working at Lloyd's of London, and coming back to the US in New York City. Around that time, Y2K was looming. And I found myself in a situation where the managing executive of my firm had a dinner with the treasurer of GE. They were looking for a risk management talent who not only brought the skills of the function, but who also had strong strategic skill set. I was fortunate that my name was brought forward. I moved into GE at an exciting time. In the late 90s, not only were new initiatives such as Six Sigma being introduced, but also with Y2K looming, there was a huge expectation that the organization be ready. My role was to make sure that we were sure up all of the property and casualty of GE globally. But something extra happened for me. As well as GE being okay from a structural standpoint, I had the opportunity to position the business to save multi-millions of dollars in perpetuity. My name was on the track record for the CFO, and then I was highlighted to GE's Experienced Financial Leadership Program. That was one of those set-apart moments. Also, something really great was going on in GE. They were looking to acquire a company, Honeywell. Now, while the acquisition didn't take place, it allowed HR to spend a lot of time identifying top talent in the organization to be a part of the acquisition integration team. My name again was surfaced. Again, being in position. Corporate mergers and acquisitions at GE was one of those roles that was highly sought after. And in working on this assignment, I became very closely familiar with that organization and had the chance to then help GE reimagine itself and its business platform. I was given responsibility for the GE Healthcare Services Organization. My receivable base was about $1 billion. And having done a great job and coming back from maternity leave, I was given an expanded role to take all of the services business for the Americas. This was amazing from a career standpoint, but not so good from a family standpoint. At this time, I'd had my second child, and while I was doing a great job in corporate, I was not doing such a good job as a mom and a wife. With a lot of consideration and prayer and conversation, my husband and I agreed, and I decided to step off my corporate career, or so I thought. And a team of leaders, in particular African-American leaders who had led the African-American Forum and diversity initiatives for GE for a number of years, were looking to shore up the programs, making sure that there would be absolutely no consideration that these programs were not a huge value for the talent at GE. Myself and another former GE colleague, Kim Mingo, formed a business, and for the next 3 years, we helped to shore up that organization with strategies that would both work on talent development, senior leadership, as well as GE in Africa as a philanthropic initiative. It was amazing. Well, all good things do come to an end, and that one did. Then I had the opportunity to join Johnson Controls Battery Division, working for the business unit president. This was a phenomenal experience. I learned first and foremost that people matter. Not only do people matter because It's the golden rule. We should care for our brothers as we do ourselves. But because when you really take the time to understand the differences and the uniquenesses and the drivers of people, it allows you to find success in areas where essentially you can otherwise feel very, very alone. In the battery division, there were very few women. There were very few African-American women. And I was certainly the most senior African-American woman that the organization, that part of the organization had seen. This was a phenomenal opportunity for me to learn and grow. It was not easy. There were days that were very hard. There might have been days that ended in tears. But nonetheless, it was that allowed me to grow. Through those experiences, I learned how to be strong, how to walk into the room with facts and information and data, how to use data, facts, and information to paint a picture and tell a story, how to see that story myself, to study it, and to be very convicted when I go to move forward recommendations. I also learned how to listen. I learned how to sit in the boardroom and not just be a part of the conversation, but really actively watch and see what was being said, who was saying it, and how it was being received. I learned that the meeting happened before the meeting. I learned how to participate in that. Based on the influencers that I would see and the conversations that I would see take place, I learned how to build my proposals before I ever walked into the room. I learned how to work the boardroom. And working the boardroom is not when you walk in that at the moment you think the meeting is happening. It's happening weeks before. And for me, as a Black woman, I found the power and strength came in data and information and a unique ability that I had to see order and chaos and to articulate that in clear, defined steps that created solutions. I was recruited to be Chief Operations Officer for a global nonprofit, ASQ. Part of that meant restructuring, and I restructured myself right on out into my next pivot. This pivot took me to a place where I had the space to not only speak to organizations and to work with organizations, but to write a book. That's when I wrote Proven Not Perfect. This book was intended to be not only a supplement to many of the talks that I gave in my career, but also to give a peek into the challenges that many of us face as a mom, a wife, a career person, and a faithful person. There's so many sides of who we are. The book is a rather simple read, so if you bother, go ahead and do, and let me know what you think. But essentially, if it gets you to just think two things: I'm not alone. I can do this with purpose. After completing the book, I was recruited to Hertz Corporation, yet again to another transformation turnaround. After 18 months of successfully doing that, I was tapped by the CEO then to help the CIO of Hertz build a tech strategy and align it with the business. We were very much on task to do that. Well, as many of you right now see, we're all in the midst of COVID, and change happens, and things happen so very quickly for a transformation business. Hertz then moved to a place of very quickly, as many companies were, identifying what was happening to revenue and how that was impacting the business. For us, revenue went down almost 90% overnight. No one's driving, no one's traveling. As a result, I would have to lay off 90% of my staff globally. Weeks later, my job became largely helping us to try not to go into bankruptcy. But after many attempts, it was very clear that that would be the case. I then had to pivot within myself and decide what was important to me. I decided that I would step out on faith and I would start on my own. What I would share to multicultural women at this time, entering their career leading in their career, experiencing their career, if I could say there's one characteristic trait that you should hold on to, I would say it's conviction. The reason that I choose conviction is because it's a series of firmly held beliefs. I think it's so important as you listen to my story, as you listen to the stories of ups, you listen to the stories of downs, you listen to the stories of pivots and change and tough decisions, spanning from family to personal to professional. Conviction and firm belief in yourself and your values, conviction and firm belief in the job that you set out to do. I wish you much success and a fun journey.